You walk into a bar. The light is warm, the air smells of malt and conversation, and there it is, the menu. Beer, ale, lager, stout, IPA, porter. To most people, it's just a list of drinks. But to a brewer, it's a map of history. Yet, somewhere between those names lies a quiet confusion. Beer and ale. Two words we toss around like they mean the same thing. But are they really? Are they just different names for the same golden drink, or two branches of something much older, much deeper? Today we're going to trace their roots, uncover their science, and taste the story behind the foam. This is Secrets of Simple Things, and this time we're pouring ourselves a mystery. Beer versus ale, why they're not the same thing, and what makes each unique. Hey, I'm Frank, grab a seat and let's pour this story together. Think of beer as a big family, centuries old, full of branches, cousins, and distant relatives who all share the same roots. Inside that family tree, two siblings stand at the top of the house, ale and lager. So yes, every ale is a beer, but not every beer is an ale. Some belong to the cooler, crisper side of the family, the lagers. It's a bit like language. Beer is the word we all use in conversation, but ale and lager? Those are the dialects, shaped by time, temperature, and tradition. Under those two, you'll find all the familiar names: IPA, porter, stout, pilsner, bock, each with its own story to tell. But to truly understand why they taste so different, you have to meet the smallest, most powerful character in this whole story: yeast, the living engine that decides whether your beer will be bright and crisp or dark and bold. The difference between ale and lager isn't really about color, taste, or even strength. It all begins with something microscopic, yet alive: yeast. Yeast is more than just an ingredient. It's a living organism, a tiny brewer that turns sugar into alcohol, bubbles, and flavor. Ales use a strain called Saccharomyces cerevisiae, what brewers call top fermenting yeast. It loves warmth, around 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 24 degrees Celsius. It rises to the surface as it works, creating those bold aromas and rich, fruity layers that make ales so expressive. Because it's warm and energetic, fermentation happens fast, sometimes in just a week. Lagers, on the other hand, rely on Saccharomyces pastorianus, a bottom-fermenting yeast. It prefers the cold, thriving around 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 to 13 degrees Celsius. Slow, patient, quiet, it settles at the bottom of the tank, working for weeks, sometimes months. And that calm process is what gives lagers their signature clean, crisp taste. Warm and expressive, cool and clean. That's the heart of what separates the two. If yeast is the soul of beer, flavor is its voice, and ales and lagers speak very different languages. Because ale ferments warm and fast, it's full of esters, those aromatic compounds that whisper notes of apple, pear, banana, or even clove. Brewers call them the perfume of fermentation. That's why ales often feel layered and alive, like a conversation of flavors happening right on your tongue. Fruity, spicy, sometimes a little wild. Lagers, chilled and patient, take the opposite approach. The cold suppresses those esters, allowing malt and hops to step forward. The result? A beer that's clean, crisp, and balanced, refreshing without shouting for attention. Some brewers say drinking a lager is like listening to silence. You only realize how delicate it is when nothing else gets in the way. Ales are warm, expressive, and bold, the storyteller by the fire. Lagers are cool, subtle, and calm, the quiet friend you reach for on a hot afternoon. Long before we called it beer, humans were already brewing something like it, cloudy, sweet, and wild. Ale is ancient, one of civilization's earliest crafts. Thousands of years ago, Sumerians and Egyptians fermented grains not just to drink, but to purify water and preserve nutrition. Later, in medieval Europe, ale became both sustenance and culture. Monks in stone-walled abbeys perfected it, carefully noting fermentation times and grain ratios. In a way, they were the first brewing scientists. Lager, by contrast, was a revelation. In 15th century Bavaria, brewers discovered that storing beer in cool mountain caves for months gave it a smoother, cleaner taste, a process they called lagern, meaning to store. That slow, cold patience transformed brewing forever. By the 19th century, with the birth of artificial refrigeration, pioneered by Carl von Linde in 1873, lager escaped the caves and conquered the world. Budweiser in America, Heineken in Holland, Corona in Mexico, all children of that Bavarian idea. As industry scaled up, lager became the beer of factories, festivals, and friendships. Light, reliable, global. Ale remained the storyteller of the old world. Lager became the anthem of the modern one. Today, walk into any supermarket and you'll see it. Rows of golden bottles, all bearing familiar names. Budweiser, Heineken, Corona. Lagers dominate the modern world. Light, crisp, and endlessly drinkable, they've become the universal language of refreshment, the beer of festivals, barbecues, and Friday nights. Every autumn, in Munich's Oktoberfest, millions raise their mugs of pale lager, the Helles, to celebrate not just beer, but togetherness. Lager became the drink of the crowd, the taste of joy shared. Alles, however, followed a different destiny. In the late 20th century, when brewing became industrial and standardized, a quiet rebellion began, the craft beer revolution. From California's small garages to London's back-alley pubs, independent brewers revived ancient ale recipes, experimenting with hops, fruits, coffee, and even chocolate. IPAs, double IPAs, Belgian-style ales, silky stouts, hazy New Englands, all born from that creative spark. In today's world, ale has become the canvas for imagination, a statement of individuality. It's the beer for people who don't just drink, they explore. If lagers are the beer of gatherings, ales are the beer of ideas, both reflections of who we are and how we celebrate life. Here's where most people get tripped up. When someone says, "I just want a beer," they usually mean a lager, cold, light, easy. That's not wrong, but it's not the whole picture. Ale is beer, too. Always has been. Over time, especially in American culture, beer became shorthand for lager, because for decades, that's all you could find, thanks to big brands and post-war marketing that sold the idea of cold equals better. Another misconception. Ales are heavy, lagers are light. But color doesn't mean strength. Some dark beers are surprisingly gentle, while some pale lagers can knock you off your stool. A Doppelbock can hit 8%, while a session ale barely reaches 4%. So the next time you hear someone order just a beer, you'll know it's not about strong or weak, dark or pale. The real difference isn't in alcohol or color, it's in philosophy. Lagers are patient, disciplined, and precise. Ales are bold, expressive, and spontaneous. One speaks softly, the other sings, and both deserve to be heard. You've learned a lot about beer and ale today. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? So go ahead, raise your glass, and when you do, you might hear that familiar clink. But have you ever wondered why we do that? The act of cheers, or toasting, goes back thousands of years, long before anyone knew the chemistry of yeast or the word brewery. In ancient Rome and Greece, people would clink their cups to prove the drink wasn't poisoned, a gesture of trust. In medieval Europe, warriors slammed their mugs so hard that a bit of ale would splash between them, a symbolic blending of drinks and of loyalty. Over time, the gesture lost its danger but kept its meaning. Today, that small clink is still a quiet promise. We drink together. We share this moment. Bonus insight. Interestingly, scientists say the sound of glasses touching completes the five senses of drinking: sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound. That single note of glass on glass tells your brain the experience has begun. So next time you raise a pint, remember that simple cheers carries thousands of years of trust, friendship, and celebration. Just another secret, hidden in the simplest things. So, what really separates beer and ale? Not rivalry, but personality. One is expressive and bold, bursting with warmth and creativity. The other is cool and composed, refined through time and patience. Both born from the same humble grain, yet each finds its own rhythm, its own way to tell a story. And maybe that's the quiet lesson hidden in every pint. Even within one family, it's the differences, not the sameness, that give life its flavor. This is Secrets of Simple Things, reminding us that the world's simplest pleasures often hold the deepest meaning. Hey, I'm Frank. Thanks for watching Secrets of Simple Things. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good curiosity. This video was created for educational and entertainment purposes using open-source research and AI-assisted tools. While every effort has been made to ensure accuracy, minor errors or omissions may still occur. We fully comply with YouTube's community guidelines. If you have suggestions or spot any inaccuracies, feel free to reach us at agency.scamedia@gmail.com. Stay curious. The simple things always have more to say. Until next time, I'm Frank. Cheers.